everyone, welcome to Saturday Night Live with a philosopher in North Oxfordshire, England. Hope everyone is doing well and is happy and healthy. Anything to say, Robert?
Yes, welcome everybody. Nice to see you. We've had a bit of a break. I wish we could say we've been on holiday, but that's actually the opposite of what's been going on. We've been working hard on various projects, but we're now back in the saddle for Lord of the Rings Part 2, The Two Towers. And we've posted 2 videos and we've just recorded a third one this morning, haven't we? So we'll be editing that over the next few days and that should go up during the week, I hope.
Well, hopefully it will go up tomorrow. I'm hoping to get it done tomorrow.
Yeah. So let's see who's here.
Say hello to everyone. So hello, I'll put it up on the
hello
screen.
from California. We've got
11:21 a.m. here.
Oh, right.
Thank you for staying up, Charles.
No, that's morning. Hello from California. They're in the...
Oh, a.m. Sorry.
Yeah, not p.m. Evening countrymen. Hello, Kirishima. Very good. Kirishima, that's a nice name. Ciro Johansson, that's also a nice name. Hello, Ciro Johansson. Sounds like something Nordic preceded by something non-Nordic. Ciro.
Yeah, and it's really nice to see some new people in the comment section. So welcome to anyone new that's joining us on this
Odyssey through the Lord of the Rings.
So I thought we can answer. Well, Robert can answer questions, but I do have the movie poster that I thought I could show Robert and ask him to put his philosophical eye over it and what it might tell us.
Okay, we can come to that. Mindo Lindo, what a great sobriquet. Good evening from Germany. Willkommen, Mindo Lindo. And Joachim Andreasen Bertelsen. Hello, Joachim. Again, also an unusual combination of Nordic and non-Nordic elements in your name, Joachim. Good to have you here. Nice for you to join.
So shall I? Okay, I've never done this before, so...
Well, should we see, first of all, if people have any questions of any kind, and then we can look at the poster?
Okay.
Yes. Does anybody have any comments or questions or anything they'd like to add, particularly about the Two Towers, because we're now embarked upon the Two Towers, but it can actually also be referring back to the first film, The Fellowship of the Ring, which we posted videos of over several months. I think we did. How many videos did we make in the end?
Well, we started in January, I think, and we finished about a month ago.
How many videos did we make?
I don't know. At least 8.
I thought it was more like 15.
Oh, was it?
Anyway, so you're very welcome in the chat to put questions, ask for things to be clarified. Maybe there are comments that I've made or Miri's made that need a bit of following up, or that other people on the channel have made that you'd like to pursue a bit. Aspects of Tolkien's lore. The contrast between the books and the film is obviously a theme that crops up quite a lot. Some of the character development. And Kirishima, question coming in 2 parts. The anticipation, Kirishima, is intense. Okay, here we go. Okay. There are echoes T.H. White's Arthurian books in Tolkien's work, especially with reference to the once and future king. Okay, I'll take your word for that. I don't know that work. Let me just say hello to Craig. Good morning from Australia. Very good. He lives in Middle Earth. Do you have anything to say about leadership in the movie so far and the idea that people can invest such faith in the emergence of a strong leader? Okay, so this is obviously a timely question. We're in a phase of the world where it would appear that strong leaders are back in fashion. I don't want to politicize this debate, but I think we all know whom we are referring to. But one of the interesting things about the films is that they're made at a time when the idea of distributed leadership really begins to be popular. used to do and still do a bit of leadership consulting with businesses. And that was a fashion. So it sort of coincided in a way with the idea of distributed leadership. So you can take the notion of the fellowship. I think the idea is there that although there is an anointed one in Frodo, the idea is kind of the leadership can be picked up by anyone at any point. Aragorn being, I suppose, the obvious other contender there in that band. And we're invited to think that distributed leadership is probably stronger than the idea of the authoritarian leader. And it's kind of contrasted, I suppose, with Saruman and Sauron. And now that's an interesting relationship because Sauron, I think, although we don't meet him as such or haven't so far, could be characterized as highly authoritarian or even despotic, as could Saruman, except that Saruman is basically a lieutenant or lieutenant, depending which side of the Atlantic you are, of Sauron himself. So in fact, the film almost proposes two concepts of leadership, one more distributed with the Fellowship, and the other more, let's call it authoritarian. And it's quite interesting as we're watching the Uruk-hai and Saruman, particularly in relation to the Uruk-hai, how that seems to actually be manifested there as a kind of capitalist boss. In fact, there was a funny comment a while ago about Saruman being like somebody who's sort of dealing with the orcs in the hope that they don't unionize themselves and become stronger as a kind of labor force.
Yeah.
But brilliant question, Karishma. Thank you very much.
I'll just go back to Craig. Good morning from Australia. I started watching your videos whilst living in Middle Earth itself.
Yeah.
It's my dream to go to New Zealand. Can you read that question?
From Jay. How do you like it so far? Not what you think, but what are your feelings about the story? What about the storytelling? I think I would describe my feelings as a mirror, really, of what's going on in the film. There's something much more kinetic and action-oriented about this second film, it seems to me, thus far. The storytelling feels a bit more compressed, and therefore my feelings about it, I feel a bit more like my blood's up, my breath is short as we're watching. I feel more swept up into it, and that I have actually less time for reflection than I did in the first film, which, partly because it's still building the characters and introducing them more slowly, has to take its time, I suppose, to have that more deliberate arc to it. Whereas in the second film, I feel a little bit more like the race is on kind of thing. And there's a sort of the clock is ticking a little bit. Although having said that, as we were saying on the last video, we do have new characters introduced. The Rohan in particular would be a set of characters. And I think that's very important to keep the narrative alive. It needs a bit more complexity perhaps for it. So I feel, my feelings are that I'm being more pulled along by the film rather than invited into the space, I suppose, as I felt in the first.
And the new characters in the second film are thrust right into the action. In the first one, it's a slow burn, like you're in Hobbiton for a while. You meet Gandalf, but you don't really see him do any magic for a while, apart from the fireworks. But I'm just thinking of Éomer, like straight away, it's like, boom, he's out. Boom, he's killing orcs. Like it's very fast paced. And we've watched 40 minutes of it now, but it's 4 hours. I looked at the...
Is it?
Yeah, the extended edition when I looked at the whole thing today. It's 4 hours, at least, I think.
Thank you for that question, Jay. By the way, Jay, let us know in the comments what you feel about it. Siri, you're saying the Fellowship is very diverse, not only in race, but also socioeconomic background. I really like that point, Ciro, because if we're talking about distributed leadership, it's not, although the Fellowship suggests equality, and it is equal, it's not a monoculture by any means. So I like that. And it's as if this is as politicians used to say in this country, a cabinet of all the strengths, or it's as if the best have been drawn from different backgrounds. So yeah, a point very well made there, Siri. Thank you.
Aragorn is very different in the books, no doubt about his right to the throne. Yeah, I think I remember that. That he's very aware of his lineage
in the books.
Mm.
Yes, he's a bit more. Well, I haven't read the books, but he does seem a little bit self-effacing in the films. Like he's not making claims, although he has a steady authority to him.
Yeah, I guess it makes it more interesting if he's a bit more resistant to it.
I don't know resistant, but he is more restrained. And if you compare him with, say, Boromir in the first film, where Boromir feels all sorts of anxiety about lineage and inheritance and status.
Yeah.
Status anxiety being the phrase that comes to mind. But, you know, that's one of the main contrasts really between him and Aragorn. I think that Aragorn doesn't have that slightly anxious, slightly grasping quality to him.
Yeah, so in a way, though, I guess from what I remember, he is very comfortable. Like he doesn't have that anxiety that Boromir has. So even if they did include the aspect of his personality in the film, it still would be a contrast because, yeah, he's very at ease with his lineage. Okay.
Here we go. Charles G2. I wonder what the G2 is. Speaking of leadership in the films, the elf, Lord Elrond, Hugo Weaving, should have been a high king of a tribe of elves after the previous one dies by Sauron's hand but declined the crown. Now, that's interesting to me, Charles, because although we have had this question of leadership, I think it would be fair to say that in addition to both an authoritarian and a more democratic version of leadership represented by Saruman on the one hand, the Fellowship on the other hand, it's pretty layered and there are clear hierarchies. I mean, I haven't done it, but I guess one could do the exercise of sort of mapping out these subtle gradations of hierarchy actually in the film. It's not quite the same as leadership, but there are hierarchical differences between Frodo and Samwise, for example, in relation to the dwarves and the elves and so on. Even arguably between Gandalf and Saruman in some ways.
Well, definitely, because Saruman the White, Saruman the Grey, those are two different levels of wizard.
Gandalf the Grey, yeah. Exactly. So we have leadership, sort of two overall models of leadership, but then we have authority exercised at quite stratified levels, it seems to me, in the film, which is interesting.
So do you like it?
Yes, thank you, Jay. If that's what you're asking.
This is something Robert doesn't like saying exactly how he feels about anything. So yeah, it's a bit frustrating.
All right, thank you for that. Yes, exactly, Siru. There's a lot of setup in the first one. Now it feels things are happening very fast. Exactly, it feels almost compressed, like the heartbeat has sped up. And that's partly, I think, because we don't need the introductory material about many of the characters. No, they've been established. Gollum is established. Frodo is established. Not to say they aren't changing in some ways, but that labour of introduction has mainly been done.
Yes, Aragorn has doubt in his lineage. I guess it makes him more modern.
He has doubt, does he, also in his lineage? That's interesting. What doubt does he have?
I don't know.
Could you help us with that? F7024 F3P. You mentioned this doubt Aragorn has.
Is it like? Is it just like internal doubt? Is it like actual doubt about like where's he?
Is there a question about his right to the throne, the fact that he's an heir or not? Perhaps you could put that in the chat. Thank you.
All but Sam and the Fellowship are either noble lineage or wealth or both.
Does that count for Merry and Pippin as well then?
I think, well, from what I've learned from the comments, I think I think so, but I didn't know that. I thought that they were just kind of, you know, country bumpkins. But I guess they're from proper families. Big
Well, again, and
families.
back to the question of accents, which we talked about last time, they do have slightly posher accents, Miri and Pippin.
Well, Pippin's got a Scottish accent, which...
Yeah, but it's an Edinburgh accent, not a Glasgow accent.
Aye.
Yeah. Sorry, for those of you who are not tuned in to the niceties of British accents, there is quite a difference between the Edinburgh Scottish accent and the Glasgow Scottish accent, the first being considered more noble than the latter. There we go. Kirishima, there's no mention or reference to democracy in the film in any land, no Athens. Rather, noble leadership comes from the bloodline, whereas evolutionary comes from the need to lead for oneself. That's very interesting, Kirishima. Although, no, there's no reference to the democracy as such, but it feels to me like in the first film, once the fellowship is formed, that is a more or less egalitarian forum where there are more or less equal votes, or at least more or less an equal say for most people. Not completely equal, but everyone's kind of allowed to speak and everybody will kind of get an audience. So yes, I would agree, but with that caveat, perhaps, Kirishima. Vobo Voborian, what a super name. I think we've seen you before, haven't we, Vobo? Aragorn in the movies has doubt in the strength of men to resist Sauron, and more specifically the power of the ring, since Elendil fell to it. Yeah, I like that point, because there is something about
Aragorn. Self-doubt, and it's that internal fear that you're not good enough.
But he's saying Aragorn has doubt in the strength of men.
So he
not in himself,
but as a collective.
As a collective,
like.
But isn't it like
I think he sees himself as a representative of men. If he would succumb to the ring, then what hope has men got? And he feels responsible for leading them.
Yeah, I like that point, Boba. Thank you very much. Aragorn sees weakness because Isildur was his ancestor. Is that correct?
The one in the opening of the fellowship.
Yeah, and because that's right. Thank you for the reminder there. Because Isildur failed, there is therefore the implication that it could happen again, that strength isn't guaranteed.
Yeah, and he says the same blood flows in my veins, the same weakness.
Yeah, interesting.
But, well, I mean, that's the type of work you do, isn't it?
In constellations.
In constellations work, like, you know, what gets passed down in generations in your family, what things stay and what things can be resolved, and maybe Aragorn is making up for what his ancestors did. He's putting a stop to that weakness.
Just to decode what Miri said there, I mean, I have a practice in a thing called systemic constellations or systemic coaching, and that's a kind of live practice with clients, sometimes individually and sometimes with groups. And one of the key tenets there is making sure that both love and strength actually flow smoothly from one generation to the next without being interrupted. And often when those things are interrupted, trouble arises, basically. And it's quite interesting to cite Aragorn here in that connection, because actually he is a figure in whom love and strength vie for prominence. He seems to radiate both.
Yeah.
Okay, Mindo Lindo, wonderful name again, because Aragorn is heir of Isildur, who didn't throw the ring into the fires of Mount Doom. Yeah, exactly. So we've got that point
so that's
again.
his weakness. Yeah, that's what.
It's almost like an ancestral flaw, isn't it? Like a fatal flaw, but one you've inherited.
Yeah, and I guess if your ancestor basically ruined a chance of destroying a ring that holds the soul of like the Dark Lord Sauron, if that is in your heritage,
then
Of course, you'd have some kind of anxiety around
some
it.
Issues. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. The same weakness runs through his veins. Yeah, thank you, Mindalone. The mentions in the first. Yeah, brilliant. Kirishima, which member of the Fellowship are you both most like? Please answer for the other rather than yourself.
Oh my God.
You're Gimli, for sure. 100%.
Gimli?
No, I'm joking, obviously.
What, because of all the crystals? Mines.
Because of all the crystals and mines. No, I was just making a joke. You are...
I know who you're going to say.
You're Gandalf.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was going
Miri's very in touch with wizardly ways and the ways of magic. So
I was going to say you're Gandalf.
No, I wouldn't be Gandalf.
No, you're Boromir.
Yeah, I'm Boromir.
I don't want to say Aragorn because then you'd feel really good about it.
No, I'm definitely Boromir. Yeah, frustrated, anxious, competitive, thwarted male energy. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so Gandalf and Boromir, one elevated being and one basically doomed.
But I thought you were going to say that I'm like Merry or Pippin because I eat so many breakfasts.
Oh yeah,
I like to have second and third breakfast.
Mary does like to eat more than one breakfast.
I do like my food.
Good questions.
Yeah, thank you.
What's interesting is that he has fear, but he doesn't succumb to it. Yes, he's moving though he doesn't know he'll succeed. That's a great point, isn't it? And that reminds me of, well, it would remind me of something like this. In Stoicism, the idea you can notice you have a feeling without giving into it. Basically, you can, and in fact, the naming of it helps to distance it a little bit.
Would you say Aragorn is stoic?
Yeah, I think he has a bit of stoicism about him, but he's slightly more relational than that because there's something about Stoics which is a bit detached and aloof. And you could call him as detached, but he always maintains relationship with people. So he's more driven, I think, by relationship.
Yeah, and I think you'll see more of that in this movie, actually.
Okay.
Aragorn
in the book has a strength in body and mind because of his Númenórean blood.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I always forget he's Númenórean.
What does that mean?
It's the first. I think it's the first race of men that were in Middle Earth.
The Númenórean. And
he's descended from those men that first came there.
And they were strong in body and mind.
Yeah, and I think he's older than he looks. I think he's like actually 60 or something, or 7, or maybe 80. But
interesting. Thank you. Who is this? 0004. Pippin could be seen as rather a privileged teenager. Yeah, that lived a sheltered life prior. Some get mad as in many blunders, but to be fair, he lived happily unaware of the danger of the world. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. He does have a little bit of that slightly, it's as if he's slightly protected somehow and slightly entitled. I mean, he's not unappealing as a character, but he does have a tiny bit of that, I would agree.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he touched that skeleton and then put the whole fellowship in danger.
Yeah.
I mean,
as if it would be okay for him, he was slightly special or something. Yeah, that's an interesting point. Thank you. Well, hello, Mortual. Back again. I remember you from times before. Nice to see you again. Thanks for joining. What do you say here? I believe there's quite a lot of research into descendants, children and grandchildren of Nazi leaders. Generation seems to be a big topic in that context. Well, indeed, on both sides, actually, perpetrators and victims, there's a lot of interesting research about transmitted trauma.
Yeah, don't like the grandchildren of people who were in concentration camps have nightmares about it or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of stuff written. The first book that comes to mind actually is one by Shoshana Fellman, which is now actually a little bit dated. Probably it's from the 80s or 90s, but she talks a bit about that from a kind of more psychoanalytic perspective. Harm von Suhr says yes. He's agreeing with something or she's agreeing with something. Harm. Pippin has a curious mind. Yes, yeah. Quite right. Númenóreans were, Charles says, Númenóreans were men who sided with the elves against Sauron's former master. The Valar, the godlike beings, rewarded these tribesmen with the bountiful island of Númenor and longer lifespans. Okay. So Númenor was their gift island, reward. A bit like the nation thanking the Duke of Wellington for conquering the French.
Yeah, I need to brush up on my knowledge of this stuff. It's because I haven't read the Similarian. So yeah. Bagginses are considered wealthy in the Shire. Pip and Miri are from prominent families. Legolas is the prince. Boromir of the line of stewards. Gimli from an influential family, and of course, Aragorn.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, Jay. I mean, we were...
Apart from Sam. And Sam's not there.
Yeah. We were recording this morning, and what struck me in the phase of the film we watched today was that so much of the film is really about memory and the presence of the past, and the fact that nothing is really ever forgotten in Middle-earth. And it's, although you couldn't call it a retrogressive film necessarily, it's not a future-oriented film. And the motto There and Back Again bears that out. And the idea that the ring has to be returned to its origin bears that out too. So this is Middle-earth is, to me, a realm in which nothing is ever forgotten. And if it's at risk of being forgotten, it will come back. And so it's, at best, it's latent, never erased.
I think it's just, I don't know, it's a respect for the land. Like, I think there's such a respect for the living, breathing land and all the different types of rock and forest and river. And I think it's like all the folk stories in what squashed into one land.
Yeah.
And you just, even the opening scene of the Fellowship where Galadriel's saying all the whispers and from the east and a shadow, and it's just you feel like it's alive, like it's a character.
Yeah, you do. And well, actually, in the part we just watched, the trees, literally come alive with the Ents. Yes.
Yeah.
Karishma, Boromir intends to be seen as a bad goodie. Yes, a good baddie. I like that. I see him as a wholesome character, leader of men, protector of the weak, Merry Pippin, honourable patriarch, and a doer. So well done, Robert. Yes, well said, Karishma. I like you more and more. Hasimir Fenring. Oh, wow, what a great name as well. There's a short of All Anatar, one of the only on-screen of Sauron as the Lord of Gifts. It's just a few minutes, but perfect breaking down how the game reimagines that rare form of him. Oh, okay. We should. Do you know that?
I don't know that. No.
Thank you, Hasimir. We'll check that out. That's very helpful. Mindo Lindo, if you're interested in intergenerational trauma after World War II, there are several interesting books of Sabine Boda. Okay, I don't know that name, so thank you for the recommendation.
Look that up.
Yeah. Joachim Andreasen again. You commented in class we're going to wasn't okay. What I think is interesting about this is that they're the only industrialized society depicted in the film. Yes, they are. And quite explicitly, not just engaged in the active industry, but as we were saying earlier, sort of full of all the questions about organized labor and the treatment of labor and what rights they have, and are they going to be fed, and, you know, complaining about the work and incipient resistance to the master. So it's not just industrial, it's capitalist industry.
There's an order.
There's an order, and there's implicitly exploitation, really, of cheap labor, basically.
Yeah. I was just going to show Robert the movie poster for The Two Towers. Let me just take that off. And because it's rare that you find someone that was not, because when these movies were out, you told me that you didn't even have a TV. You didn't have a TV in the early.
I don't think I did, no.
So I thought it might be cool to look at the movie poster and see what your like philosophical brain can tell us about it. So just pretend that it's 2002 and you've just watched The Fellowship of the Ring on DVD over Christmas.
Blu-ray.
Blu-ray probably wasn't even out then.
Oh, wasn't it? Okay. 2002. All right.
I
Where was
had
I in
I had it on
2002?
VHS.
Okay, I was in. Okay, I was in.
Were you in California?
No, I was in Camberwell in South London.
Oh.
I was in South London.
And these are the posters that are everywhere on buses, on billboards. You're ready for the Two Towers to come out.
I missed them.
And this is it. I don't think I can actually make our screen bigger.
Can people see it on the?
I think so.
Live.
Yeah.
Could you just tell us, anybody there? Can you see the poster on your screen, please? Could you just say yes if you can see the poster? Just say yes in the chat function, please. Can you see the poster that Miri is
There's a delay,
showing?
so it might take a bit for people to say yes.
Yes. Oh, okay. Joaquin, thank you very much.
So I did. Hang on. I wrote down some questions.
Okay.
Okay. Consider it. You have watched half an hour of the film, so
of the Two Towers.
Of the Two Towers, but it is it's the extended edition, so I don't think you've got as far as the version that was out in cinema. But okay, without knowing the plot, what's the first story you imagine from this poster?
The first story I imagine from this poster is, am I allowed to know that I've seen the first film?
Yeah, because you would have seen the first one. Yeah.
Okay, well, the most prominent characters there right at the top there is Gandalf and Frodo right at the very top. So I'd be thinking, oh, so Gandalf actually
he's not dead.
Persists into film 2, even though he's been tipped down the massive mine shaft of Warrior. So, but having said that, he looks more godlike in this picture. He looks a bit like something out of a Renaissance painting of God. So it could also be that he's both alive and in some afterlife at the same time. So that's what I would be thinking, that he has both a present and a non-presence in some form.
Mm-hmm.
But Frodo there is in a slightly elevated position above him. So I'd be inclined to think Frodo's in the ascendancy, literally in the ascendancy from Gandalf. So that's the first thing I would suggest. It seems to me it would be important. Should I keep more questions or should I keep going?
Oh, my question. What from the poster, what do you think the story says about power, destiny, or community?
I couldn't help.
Oh, sorry.
Saying Kirishima's comment, my brain is struggling to imagine a romance between Boromir and Gandalf. Well, I think you're just very old-fashioned, Kirishima. What can I say? Get with the program.
Well, I think I mentioned this before, that I used to read the secret diaries of the Fellowship, and it was just lots of gay storylines between the... You're out of the camera, you need to move.
Right, sorry.
Yeah, it was just like, I don't know why teenage girls are obsessed with creating gay relationships between men, because that's all we did. We just imagined that like Frodo and Sam were gay together.
And by the way, Craig, that I love that the line that comes to mind: those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Sort of a bit like the Hegel line about history repeats first as tragedy and then as farce. The actor of Gandalf is famously open gay. Yes, indeed, he is. In fact, we used to live nearby in Lyme.
We saw him once at his pub, and he kind of smiled at us, but we're not sure.
Yeah, he owns a pub in Limehouse in London, Docklands, called the Grapes, which is on the river.
And he lives above it because he was in his pajamas when we saw him.
Yeah. Anyway.
What mood or feeling does the movie poster give?
Well, it's quite interesting because it leads with something a little bit gothic, because we've got these two towers and they're dark towers, particularly the one on the left in the foreground. And we've got a misty ground, like there's mist descending on the ground. So it's leading with an atmosphere of the gothic, and the heads of most of the main characters are in a kind of moon-like ovoid shape.
There's so much full moon in Lord of the Rings. This is what I've realised watching it with you. There's so, like almost every scene with Saruman, there's a full moon.
Yeah. What do you take from that?
Well, I don't know. Well, I guess it's the full moon is a time when there's a lot of madness around. So maybe it's a reflection of Saruman's inner kind of feelings, or
yeah, I mean, it's an unusual shape in that movie poster because it looks as though it could be slightly elliptical, and maybe it's just the way we're looking at it rather than full. I mean, it's not completely clear to me, but let's assume it is a full moon. And I think one of the points about the full moon, because the moon is associated with change and capriciousness, is that it's a reminder of transformation.
Yeah.
You know, whatever the moon is, it is a symbol of change and transformation. And transformation, I would venture to say, is the most poetic trope that there is, when one thing becomes another. And that goes back, well, throughout the history of imaginative fiction, and probably has its most formed articulation in the Metamorphoses of Ovid, which says really all story, all true magical story, contains elements of transformation. And so the moon would be a symbol of transformation.
But this moon doesn't transform, it's always full.
No, but it transforms the people beneath it in the sublunary world.
Okay.
Everybody more or less is changed, I think, in this film, one way or the other. I mean, I don't know yet. But it is a classic kind of Gothic landscape.
Yeah.
Apart from that, it's interesting that the figures are strung out between the two towers, because I think that's also suggesting narrative to us. Because the phrase two towers, there's been some commentary about that not being perhaps the most perfect title for this film. Sounds a bit static, the two towers. But here, interestingly, they've made a decision to, as it were, narrativize the two towers by separating them, putting one in the foreground and one in the distance, as though the one in the distance is either the one to move towards or away from.
Yeah.
What?
I thought there was something wrong. I was like, are you okay?
The left tower is Sauron's in Mordor. The right is Saruman's in Isengard. Ah, that's very interesting.
Yeah, because he's near it, isn't he?
Ah, that's interesting. The other thing they reminded me of actually was chess pieces.
That's true. And we've got Arwen as quite a big figure.
Yeah, now I'd be surprised to see that. Because
we haven't seen her yet.
No, although we had that very romantic scene with Aragorn and Arwen in the first film, it felt like, okay, that was kind of done, and now she's waiting for him to return, kind of thing. A bit like Penelope in the Odyssey or something. So I'm a bit surprised to see her so prominent there, but now I'm expecting we'll get to see much more of her.
Especially because there's a female character that we've seen quite a bit so far in Eowyn. Like, I'm surprised that Arwen is bigger, but obviously this is back in 2002 where Liv Tyler was a massive star.
Yeah, right. Okay,
and
that's partly about the stardom.
And actually, I forget that movie posters are a kind of
advert.
Well, yeah, they're a time capsule, aren't they, of who was the most famous person at that time.
Yes, because she also did that awful Bertolucci film, Stealing Beauty.
Oh, I loved that movie. With Joaquin was it Joaquin Phoenix?
I can't remember. I thought it was awful. Anyway,
really?
Yeah.
Okay. I was also going to if I do this and then I do this,
what's happening now?
Add stage. Okay. Right. This is the movie trailer
for the second
one. So this is you getting ready to watch it.
What's been business? There's an elf, a man, and a dwarf having the written mark. Speak quickly!
We track a band of Urukai, westward across the plain. They've taken 2 of our friends captive.
Look for your friends, but do not trust to hope. It has forsaken these lands.
We're lost. I don't think Gandalf meant for us to come this way.
He didn't mean for a lot of things to happen, Sam.
It cannot be.
I come back to you now. The turn of time. Sauron's forces have begun their attack. He's using Saruman to destroy your people.
They were unarmed. They had no warning.
This is but a taste of the terror that Saruman will unleash. You must fight.
I will not risk open war.
Open war is upon you, whether you would risk it or not.
A new power is rising. Its victory is at hand.
There is an army bred for a single purpose, to destroy the world of men.
You must lead the people to Helm's Deep.
By order of the king, the city must empty.
Where is she? The woman who gave you that jewel.
The alliance between men and elves is over. Our time here is ending. Aragorn's time is ending. Let her go.
Where is it?
Just tie him up and leave him.
You know the way to Mordor.
There will be no dawn for men.
It's the ring.
Frodo!
It's taken hold of you.
You have the gift of foresight. Tell me what you have seen.
He is not coming back.
The defenses have to hold.
They will hold.
There is nothing for you here. Only death.
There is still hope.
Right.
There you have it.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that stopped sharing? Okay. Yes. So there you go. You've got the trailer.
Got the trailer, got the movie poster. Don't need to watch the film now, is that what you're saying?
But that's what we had back then. So
Right. It's what I missed.
it's what you missed.
Okay.
And the spoiler of Gandalf was there the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a lot to say about that, but let's just point out a couple of things. I mean, he's got whiter, right? And I think that's interesting because he looks more like Saruman.
Yes.
So the contrast with Saruman now has to be more inner than outer, because, and that's quite interesting because we had a
They're
classic
equals,
sort of
yeah.
dark versus light theme before. And I think there is a question then, I mean, I don't know how it will play out, whether or not that means there might be a bit of Gandalf which is more susceptible to being manipulated by Sauron and Saruman, you know, whether that shift in his appearance is also something different, which I think would be interesting.
You mean if because he's become on the same level as Saruman, he'll be more interesting.
Yeah. I think it also helps to make a clearer distinction between him and Frodo, because when he was in the Fellowship of the Ring, he seemed quite avuncular and of the world, of Middle-earth. This new appearance makes him look more ethereal, more angel-like, more celestial, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, before he was more grounded and a bit like a Green Man type figure.
Yeah, he was of the earth more and fire potentially, but now he's much more of the air, slightly elf-like in that regard.
Or more angelic.
More angelic.
But what from the watching the trailer, what kind of movie would you expect to go to the cinema to watch?
Blockbuster.
Yeah. God, I miss I miss movies. Like, good movie. Even that movie poster, like, when was the last time a movie poster looked that good?
But it's interesting because we were saying tonight that, or today, that this film does feel more action-packed and kinetic and so on. I don't think you would ever describe movie one, The Fellowship of the Ring, as a blockbuster. I mean, it's a big film. It's epic.
Yeah, it's big themes.
It's tragic in some ways. It's pastoral. It's romantic. It's all sorts of things at the level of genre. But this feels more like it's gone for a single genre.
Well, there's not a lot of fighting in the first. Like, there is fighting because there's fighting in Moria and then there's fighting at the end. But I can't really think.
And there's the Nazgul, and yeah.
It's not like a constantly they're being attacked type movie.
No, this feels more like. I mean, I mentioned Penelope. This feels more like the Iliad or something. And by the way, I wanted to say, as you were talking about men there, and the trailer talked about men, there's a way in which men are identified as a class, which to me is reminiscent of the way in which men are differentiated from mortals in Greek, well, particularly Homeric literature. They're men as opposed to mortals. And although that's not the distinction that Tolkien's making here, he is putting men or mankind in a frame to be contrasted with other breeds and races and tribes and so on, as if a little bit to diminish them, actually. And they become a little bit smaller as a result of that comparison, as they are in Homer, because they're not gods.
Yeah.
They're mortal.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Gandalf lives. Yes, exactly, Jay. Biped snake. Oh, that's a good name.
This is one of many, the others being more character focused, but how does this trailer compare to present day trailers?
Oh, so there were other trailers for this film?
No.
Oh,
there was just that. This is one of many.
This is one of many. I think, are you saying Biped Snake, that the trailer we just looked at?
I don't think there was other trailers for this movie.
Maybe there were.
But anyway.
Maybe there were in different countries, possibly.
Maybe. Or maybe there was a teaser. But how does this trailer compare to other present day trailers? But the thing is, you don't watch movie trailers. Like, you don't go. You
can answer that question better than I can.
Well, I think movie trailers today are. I don't know. I do remember watching this trailer, and when the music gets really epic at the end, I remember that being quite new to me. Like, but these days everything's so epic, and
that was pretty epic though.
Yeah, but it was a good trailer because it built up to it.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you ever get the feeling that Earth is slowly being consumed by entropy, and that what's fading still exists somewhere? So what we see now in the story is only an echo.
That's such a beautiful idea and beautifully expressed, Azamir. I mean, now you've said it, I'm very suggestible, so I'm beginning to think it and beginning to think I always thought it. But that's a very interesting idea. I mean, there's a strong sense that we're not at the beginning of things here. These are not new worlds, or this Middle Earth is not a new world. Things have, as we were saying, long history, long prehistory, tradition, mythology, stretching back eons and so on. Whether that means there's an entropic force in place, I don't know, but it feels late. This is not taking place at the beginning of time. This is not morning in America. This is, we're working in the evening of civilization, it feels here. So I'd agree with you up to that point, I think, Hazimir, but it's a beautiful idea.
Can you? I've also heard that Tolkien didn't like the title of The Two Towers in the long run. He came up with it because the book had to be split into 3. I've got a question for you, actually. If you could rename, well, you haven't watched it, so it's difficult. Maybe after we finish watching it, you could rename the film.
I mean, I think the fundamental issue is the having to split it into 3 in the first place, because as we were saying when we first started watching The Two Towers in our first video analysis, it feels very much like a continuation of story 1, partly because the characters are the same, the actors are the same, the location is the same, the music is the same. You know, there's such a continuity there. I mean, I think just for the purposes of movie going, you couldn't have a film of whatever it would be, 10 hours. It had to be broken down.
But you couldn't call it The Fellowship of the Ring because the Fellowship is broken.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't call it The Fellowship of the Ring, but I wouldn't call it a trilogy either. I'd say maybe this is a triptych or something like that. It's a single piece with a fold between the first and second and the second and third part, but it's not 3 modular bits that fit
together. You just call it part 1, part 2, part 3. 1, 2, 3.
I mean, if it were my choice, I would.
Rings.
Yes, Lord of the Rings 1, 2, and 3.
There's a reason why I avoid trailers like the plague. They show too much. Yeah, that's true.
I think I agree, Siri. And also, what I have noted, although I don't watch many trailers, as Miri says, if you ever watch a trailer for a comic film, they always put the best jokes in the trailer. Then you get to the film and you realize all the other jokes are less good. So it can be quite disappointing. I didn't see the...
Oh, sorry. Have I done something?
No, I was already going on to the next comment, sorry.
Oh.
Did I see the Fellowship poster? I don't think I did.
No.
To me, the best movie poster of all time. Oh, wow, okay.
I was going to...
oh, gosh, let's look at that. Yeah.
We'll
have a look.
Yeah, maybe next time, because I'm still learning how to use this app, so I don't want to I'll have it lined up next time, but yeah, we'll look at that because I do really like that poster. And there's a few posters from the Fellowship, because I remember there was a poster of the silhouette of the Fellowship walking. I loved that. But when I was looking for that for the Two Towers poster, there was like loads of them on eBay. I was trying to find a good image, and then I saw on eBay they were like £200, like the original ones from the cinema, and I've got some. So I used to ask the cinema for them when they finished.
Oh, right. Well, you might have a ready audience of buyers. You can put in bids in the chat if you like for Miri's movie posters.
And I've got a stand-up cutout of Legolas because I was obsessed with them.
Okay, including a cutout of life-size cutout of Legolas. I think we'll begin the bidding at £200. Okay, Otaku Senpai. We also have the Dunedain, which almost bridges the gap between men and elves. Almost. Remind me who the Dunedain are.
Oh, I've heard of them, but I oh God, I'm so rubbish. Dunedain.
Can you help us a bit with that, Otaku Senpai? Maybe just about the Dunedain. First King Norma, Elrond's brother Elros. Okay, chose to live as a mortal. Okay, good.
The first movie, Saruman did criticize Gandalf for not knowing for the ring and being in the Shire. I remember that. He was like, "You've grown too fond of the hobbits." He implied that his love for the halflings had told his mind.
That's right.
Exactly. I mean, it's a fair point.
Yeah, he's just like thought of as an old stoner, like he's hanging out with the Beach Boys.
He's like those old men that you see in Glastonbury.
Yeah.
Civilization in Middle-earth at this point is at both the beginning and end. Elves are fading or migrating. Dwarves are starting to have fewer children. Only men are increasing in population.
Interesting. I like that broader perspective, Charles.
Yeah, beginning and ending. That's really interesting.
Well, and I would imagine for Tolkien as a person, there would have been a real question about civilization's beginning and ending.
Yeah, when you're in the middle of a war.
Yeah, and he's writing this at a time when the 1,000-Year Reich was being conceived of. Triptych is a good description. It's a single novel split into 3 volumes. Yeah, I'm glad you like that.
I've never heard. What is that? Triptych?
A triptych. So, particularly in a church, you will get a panel painted on wood, usually at egg tempera,
like the
above
three.
an altar, 3 panels,
yeah.
but kind of together. And some, they can in some cases actually be folded.
Yeah, I know. Which couple would be the most interesting, Gandalf and Galadriel, or Sauron and Galadriel? Well, isn't that new Rings of Power series basically? Well, I saw the first season, and they created a love story between Sauron and Galadriel. What's your answer to this question?
Well, Galadriel is the common,
Blanchett.
is the common feature. Which would be most interesting? Yeah, Sauron and Galadriel, of course, be more interesting. Yeah,
Fiery.
Yeah. Here's Natman Prime. Evening, everybody. Evening. Charles, yes, agree with comedy trailers. Such a shame they do that. They do that, don't they? They put the best jokes in, and then you get to the cinema.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've seen a really good trailer. I don't know, because sometimes late at night I'll rewatch movie trailers. That's something I do.
Yeah.
Does anyone else do that?
Yes, evening, Natman Prime. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining.
When Fellowship first came out, I knew of Viggo mainly as Lucifer in The Prophecy. I haven't seen that. I remember him in that movie about the moon landings. Do you know that movie? It was like set. When was the moon landings? The 60s.
Yeah.
And I don't know. He played this character who was having an affair with this woman, and it was set during like the moon. Like, I don't know. It was like the whole country was getting ready for the moon landings, but that's all I remember him was wearing his jeans.
Don't watch Rings of Power. To use an Americanism, it blows. Right? Okay. I suppose that means like it sucks, but even worse.
Yeah, no, I don't want to offend anyone who really likes it, but I just couldn't get on with it. It wasn't the Galadriel that, like, I mean, we've discussed it before, like Galadriel's the main character. It just doesn't work because her power is in the fact that she's there and not there. So having her as a main character and kind of having, I don't know, you just don't want to see her flaws.
No. Should we take a couple more comments?
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you. Aragorn's the chieftain of the Dunedain of the North, descendants of Numenor. Okay, that helps to explain it. Thank you. Saruman as he should have been.
Indeed, I in Saruman, one might almost say Saruman as he should have been. Oh, that's a quote from Gandalf.
Interesting.
Yeah. I did see a comment earlier that I missed when I was putting the picture up. I think it was what's your favourite? Is there any lines that have stood out for you so far?
I don't know about a line, but the scene I keep thinking of is the one that was actually cut from the first film of Aragorn visiting the statue of his mother.
Yeah, you love that scene. Why do you like that scene so much? I mean, it is really good. It's nice, but you seem really affected by that scene.
Because I think it's quite unusual, perhaps, in the context of the book. You don't see characters on their own very much.
Yeah.
In private contemplation, maybe that's why.
That's true. When do we ever see characters by themselves? Yeah. Apart from when Gandalf was at the library looking through all the manuscripts.
Yes. But yeah, it's a rare thing. So maybe that's why it stood out, because of that quality.
The Amazon series is like Voldemort. I don't mention it in hopes it will just disappear into oblivion. Yeah, I mean it's not great. Maybe I'll show you the trailer for. You know what really irritated me about The Rings of Power is that Howard Shore, the composer, composed the music for the opening titles, which I don't know why, but it's really irritated me because it's like tricked me into thinking that it's the same thing, and it's not.
Yeah.
The Gondorians are largely I can never say it. Dundane. Also, but arguably more fallen than the Rangers of the North. Okay. Yeah. I need to learn more. Shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, we better wrap up. I need to feed the cat. She'll be screaming. Okay, so how did you find the trailer and the movie poster?
Interesting.
Okay.
Yes, but I particularly liked all the comments, actually. So thank you very much indeed for joining again. We really appreciate it. And, the kind of level of engagement.
Yeah, thank you so much for all your comments. It's really lovely, and we haven't done this in ages, so it's really nice to get back into it and get into the swing of it again.
Yeah. And we just recorded another one this morning, so that'll be up soon.
So yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you, Siru. Oh, we've got more comments.
It's a pleasure, Morkshall. Thank you, Morkshall. Nice to see you.
Agree in the music.
Commissioner, thank you. Hasamir, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mindelindo. Oh, first time you commented in the live chat.
Yes.
Well, it's brilliant. You really kept it
thank
going.
you. It's really good to see some new faces as well as everyone. But thank you guys. We'll see you at the next one. See you soon, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. And goodbye.